Hello, my friends, and welcome back to another edition of the famed Freedom Friday from the Conservative American here at Conservative American Studios somewhere in northern Utah. Usually this is on a porch, but if you follow the weather in northern Utah, you would know that I would have to be wearing a snowmobile suit or something to do it on the porch tonight. But lots to talk about. Interesting thing has really been breaking down over the last couple of weeks with FTX, and as you'll know, unless you've been living under a log, which a lot of Americans seem to be in the present day and not paying attention to anything going on around them, FTX was a cryptocurrency holding firm essentially that was developed, and the CEO that created it and ran it, I think it's the brother from the guy off of Home Alone with the frizzy hair, because he sure looks a lot like him. But you've got Sam Bankman-Fried. He's a 29-year-old. His dad, I believe, is a Yale University lawyer. I don't know if he practices law still, but I know he teaches up there, and I believe he's a graduate from up there. So he knows a thing or two around the legal system, and that's not necessarily here nor there, but coming from a background of growing up in that family, certainly this kid, Bankman-Fried, cannot claim ignorance about what was going on. So he opens up this big racket. It'll go down as one of the biggest pyramid schemes on the planet, like pretty much every crypto will. They're not sustainable, and turns this thing into a $1 billion company overnight. This $1 billion company was run so poorly that they were using QuickBooks for their financial software to write checks, to balance their sheets. A very interesting thing about this FTX is they donated millions of dollars to the DNC going into the last midterm election. Only second behind George Soros, who, as we all know, is a communist worshipping scumbag who does things like hires or buys and pays for DAs in big blue cities like San Francisco, New York, Chicago, for the sole purpose of not delivering on justice in those cities and causing turmoil, which is a page straight out of the Communist Manifesto playbook. You create a bunch of malcontents, you get rid of the justice system, you create a huge imbalance in power, in illicit tracks, and that's one of the quickest ways you can get to bringing forth the communist cause. So this all goes on. They have so much money that they name one of the big sports arenas. They buy the naming rights out to a big sports arena down in Florida, the FTX Stadium, and a really weird thing happened this week. So this has been coming out for a little bit here and there. Bankman-Fried, he absconds down to the Bahamas. He disappears. He's completely MIA. Nobody knows where he's at. Then it's found out that, yeah, they do know where he's at. He's down in the Bahamas, doing heavens knows what. Anyway, the feds just this week certified some extradition paperwork with the Bahamas. The Bahamas police went in and took custody of Bankman-Fried. Good thing, right? Yeah, well, it is a good thing. But curious timing, because they've known about this for a really long time. They've known that this guy has squandered millions, closer to the billion bracket of investor money on things like Ferraris, obviously paying for politicians, funneling money to the DNC and whatnot. And yet they chose just this week to take him into custody with extradition paperwork. And you might say, well, that takes some time, and it does, but it's curious that it happened the day before Bankman-Fried was scheduled to testify before Congress about what was going on. So that's where we're at with FTX. But next, we have some breaking news coming in. And this is going to be all very shocking because we were told this was misinformation. We've been getting people kicked off Twitter, And a lot of people have been saying for a long time there's been shadow banning going on, that the government has been influencing Twitter to do things. Now, Twitter's a private company and they can censor anybody they want. Well, it's actually now it's 100% a private company. Before it was a private company founded with shareholders. Anyway, there was a time that Jack Dorsey was being held in some hearings, and they were talking about this, and the Republicans on their conspiracy theory were saying, no, people are being banned, they're being shadow banned. Jack Dorsey, the CEO of Twitter at the time, said there's absolutely no censorship going on. Well, we know now, now that Elon Musk has bought it out, and we're seeing the internal files, and we're seeing the back and forth between members of decision-making panels at Twitter, that Jack Dorsey is 100% a liar. So he is either the stupidest, most incompetent CEO, maybe next to Bankman-Fried, or he's just a liar. That's the only two scenarios that can come out on this. Then the next big thing was, well, Trump absolutely got banned. There's no way they can cover it up. Yep, Trump gets banned January 6th. He's gone. He's off Twitter. And Twitter for the longest time told us, all us right-wing nuts, conspiracy theorists, that no, that was just a coincidence. That was 100% coincidence. That happened because he said some inciting words on January 6th, and we know all about that witch hunt. The one word was fight in his phrase. Never mind the fact of what Democrats said about Chuck Schumer. I'm coming for you Gorsuch. The fire wind is going to blow down your doors, and Gorsuch and Kavanaugh, and apparently those words are not insightful. But by Trump saying we will continue to fight, but we need to go home now. We're going to peacefully protest. All that stuff they're going to leave out of there. They banned Trump. So you might say, well, okay, even if you take that and you defer to their level of expertise, and say, yeah, this was a good time to quiet Trump because things were getting very unstable in the nation. Okay, let's stipulate to that fact. The problem is the Slack channels and the Twitter docs that are all being released go back in time, and this is absolutely fabricated because they were talking weeks, days, and months ahead of this of how they were going to ban Trump, get Trump off the platform, because they knew it was a powerful platform for him to talk to his constituents and bypass the media. So they needed to get him off this platform so he could not continue to do that. Now I say, Twitter has the experts that were with him. Well, the experts, as it turns out, was the FBI. The FBI was working with Twitter. They got for instance, they got the Hunter Biden laptop in 2019, December. They had that laptop up until the point in the summer, late summer, going into fall of fall 20, that they notified Twitter, and Twitter was coming out with all these things. And of course, all the spokespeople for the White House were saying there's a good chance that there will be some serious misinformation that's coming out from the Russians regarding the election. Post drops the story, Hunter Biden laptop found. The next thing is we've got this panel of 30 some odd foreign intelligence experts signing off on this letter saying, oh, this has all the earmarks of Russian propaganda, and this is a planted laptop. Well, we now know that that's also 100% false, and we know that if the FBI had that from December 19, you're telling me the FBI couldn't decipher whether that was a legitimate laptop between them and the October surprise? That was a surprise in the favor of conservatives, and they quickly flipped that using the FBI and the DOJ working in concert to suppress people's free speech and to hide things from them. Anyway, this Twitter thing, if you haven't done it already, you need to get online and find some of the documents that are coming out on this and see some of the conversations that were going on between the FBI. It was 100% concerted effort with the DOJ and Twitter and other social media groups to silence conservatives. It was a direct violation of the First Amendment. The moment the FBI stepped in there, they have no business doing that, and they were pushing forward. They weren't just trying to, we're maybe stepping on the First Amendment a little bit, but we're doing it to get the truth out. It was absolutely the opposite. They were doing it to spread their own misinformation and lies. And really what it boils down to is whatever the soup du jour is that the Democrats are screaming about, whether it's climate change or misinformation or Russians collusion, whatever they're saying is what they're doing. So that's how you can pick off their sleight of hand. As soon as they start accusing the Republicans of something, it's because that's exactly what they're doing, and they're moving the shells around so that everybody loses track of what balls where. Anyway, couple nice little things to drop off with here. Here's why our Republican machine loses. This is Representative Boehner speaking at the unveiling of Nancy Pelosi's portrait this week at the Capitol, since she'll be stepping down as Speaker. Listen to this boob go on about this person that has attacked Republicans without remorse for her entire career.
Frankly, my team here in Washington, and Madam Speaker, I have to say, my girls told me, tell the Speaker.
So that particular track kind of cut out, but as you can tell, he's tearing up talking about his girls told him to tell the Speaker how highly they thought of her. Okay, well, you know, maybe good, maybe it's a Christian thing, turn the other cheek, but it doesn't work in politics, because this is how Nancy Pelosi, the person that he is esteeming so highly, reacts to things.
Order for this question in her weekly press conference watch. Will you commit to serving your full 2-year term for the people of San Francisco?
What is this? Don't bother me with a question like that. Really? Really? What kind of question?
Don't bother me with a question like that to Nancy Pelosi when she's asked if she's going to commit to serving out the remaining 2 years of her term. So, in a nutshell, that's the difference between why Republicans lose continually and why Democrats win. And with that, we are kind of caught up. We'll continue to make some new material, and we will tell you good day.